Aloha, everybody. Aloha no. Welcome to the Aloha Friday Show, our video podcast, produced by the Sandwich Island Social Network. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization serving Hawaiians and Hawaiians at heart away from their island home. And the bottom of our screen towards the center, Sandwich Island Social Network, and it says sandislands.org. That's where you can find out about Sandwich Islands, the work we do, stuff that's going on. We are based out of Southern California, but our Aloha goes global. Big mahalo to Brittany Paiva, upper left-hand side of your screen. She has provided us with our theme music. If you're not familiar with Brittany's music, please find her online. Download her music wherever you use service you use to download music. Brittany Paiva. Mahalo, Brittany. Hello there. We are back for another session of the Aloha Friday Show. Right here, we're on we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, Instagram, we're on Twitch. We just got twitched over here. It's a new platform, and that's where we are. Thanks so much for joining us. We have quite a few already here. They're already saying aloha, saying what's up. We are so glad that you're here. Listen, one of the cool things about being online is that all of our video podcasts are archived on our YouTube channel. So if you missed it, or if you're enjoying it now and you want to tell some friends about it, simply go to YouTube and just type in Sandwich Island Social Network, just like it says at the bottom of the screen. Sandwich Island Social Network, and all of our broadcasts are there for you to enjoy. My goodness, we are so happy to have a gentleman on the show today, and I'm really looking forward to talking story with him. He he's actually a news and sports anchor on Hawaii TV. He's the first Chinese American male news anchor. He also has his own production company, the Rick Quon Productions, in which he produces various different videos for nonprofits, including documentaries about Asian Americans, which is wonderful. We'll talk about that. He is a two-time Emmy Award-winning broadcaster with more than 3 decades of experience. And it's going to be just wonderful to talk with him. Please welcome on to our show, Mr. Rick Quon. What's up, Rick?
Aloha, Kamaka. Great to be here.
Welcome. Now, you are in your palatial home in Honolulu.
I was trying to hide the pillow behind me there. That's my bed. I'm in my bedroom. But this is the best I can do. But
yeah, just fine. And so you're in what? Are you in the? Would you call it Macaulay? No, you're Kaka'ako area, yeah.
I'm in Kaka'ako. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right next to Blaisdell Arena.
Blaisdell Arena. All right. I don't know. I don't think that school is there. I went like second grade to Pohukaina Elementary, which is right in the middle. I think there's only a park left, Pohukaina Park, but there used to be a school there.
Yeah, it's all gone.
It's all gone. and back in the day, it was all body and fender shops and light industrial areas and but it's kind of been gentrified with a lot of new buildings. I don't recognize it anymore. Wow.
Yeah, there's a fancy shop downstairs. I think there used to maybe have been a bowling alley around here too. I think.
Yeah, maybe.
But,
could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, we got to do some official stuff here. Gotta be, or else we're gonna really disappoint some people. First of all, I need to let you know, behind me in the trees are menehunis that are roosting in the trees, and they're always part of the show. And they need to, any time we have special guests like you, they want to blow the conch shell. And so, first of all, the first menehuni blows what I call the Portuguese conch shell to welcome you. There's the first Portuguese conch shell to welcome you. And his wife, who's actually his boss, sits behind him, and she wants to also There you go. You have now been welcome.
Were they part of a circus at one time? I don't know. I think I've heard that sound before.
but just so that you know, right? I mean, you are now officially welcome to the Aloha Friday show. So
Thank you.
there
Thank you.
you go. Oh my goodness. All right, now, you know what? I've been living here on the continent for a while, and every 6, 8, 10 weeks or so, I fly back home and I take the red eye and I get into town in the morning. You know that red eye which you take and you get, and I am past hungry.
Mm.
I am hangry. So I call up Brother Rick and I go, Brother Rick, Kamaka is hangry, brah. Where we going to eat? Where we going to grind, brah?
Okay. Well, one of my favorite places that's kind of off the beaten path is a place called Cat Sushi. And it's located on King Street, right across from where I used to work at, KITV. And so that place, one of my coworkers turned me on to it. And they have the best grilled ahi over there. Big portions. You can get the mini and still be filled.
Wow.
But they have some wonderful ahi over there. That's my go-to place when I get hangry.
Cat Sushi. I'm going to write it down because I'm
Okay.
homeward bound soon. And can I say that Rick Quon recommended?
You tell them Rick Quon sent you, they'll give you an extra portion. Okay?
Oh, okay. They wouldn't ask me. They wouldn't ask me to leave, right?
No, absolutely. No, they're great people over that run that place and very friendly. Yes.
You know who just jumped in? Who just jumped in right now? A couple of our friends. Let me see. I got Vince Faustino. What's up, Vince? He's saying, "Aloha, Kamaka."
Aloha, Vince.
And Rick.
Thanks
Vince is a talented guy. He originally from the islands. He is a vocalist. He plays as a musician, talented, and for him to get up this early, musicians forget up this early. That's good. Welcome, Vince. Also, brother Marty Burns. Marty Burns says, "Aloha, kako." What's up, Marty?
Marty.
Marty has a pop-up bakery he calls Brook the Mount Bakery. He does amazing ube products, cookies. He does his coconut mochi is to die for. Oh my goodness. Wow. He makes the best. Good morning, Marty.
I have to check that out. Where's he located at?
Well, he has a pop-up, it's pop-up.
Okay,
yes. So whenever they have events, he does that too. Here's a good friend, Steve Sue. Steve, what's up?
He's an old friend of mine. I've known him for 30-something years.
Let me see.
And, he is Mr. Shaka.
Mr. Shaka.
Yeah. He made it. He pushed through making the Shaka the official state gesture this past year, and of course, he did this hour-long documentary about where the Shaka came from.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different origin stories, but he was able to explain how it came about.
He did a great job. We were at the LA premiere of Shaka, in which we were able to come out in force. The community came out. I had a couple of my ohana on the show as well. And so it was a good family gathering over there as well. So great to see you, Steve. Thanks for dropping in, man. Thanks for dropping in. Here's Kay Bennett. She's going, aloha po alima, aloha Friday. She's in the west wing of the Hale over here. And let me see. We got a couple other folks that are saying hello to each other. Vince is saying, I had a gig this morning. Oh, early morning gig. I see.
Appreciate that.
And you're on the air. I got to tune in. Mahalo, Vince. Thank you so much. That's really good. So Rick, you're from Houston, Texas.
Yeah. A lot of people think I'm local, but I actually was born in Houston. Yeah.
You could pass, for local simply because of our great Asian population there, and you fit right in with all of the locals there. What Houston, Texas? What was how did that happen?
Okay, so it's a little background. My mother's actually from Augusta, Georgia. She's Chinese, but she's from Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, I know. Chinese are everywhere. Yeah. My dad immigrated from China, wound up settling in San Antonio. so after they were married, they were looking to buy a home in San Antonio, but because of the racist laws back then, they couldn't buy property in San Antonio. So my dad had a relative who lived in Houston, Texas, and established a grocery store there. So he told my dad, come on over to Houston and open up a store near my store. And so that's what happened. This was back in the, I guess, early 1950s or so.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So all of your education after that was all in continental U.S. And um,
Yeah.
how did you end up in the islands? And all of a sudden, boom, we have Rick Quon in the '80s on TV. How did that
Yeah.
happen?
It was, you know, sometimes it's a matter of luck and being in the right place at the right time. So basically, my very first job was in a town called Jonesboro, Arkansas. Okay.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. And I was like the only Chinese person in that town. But anyway, I got a chance to go on a trip to Taiwan with some other American-born Chinese, and some of those folks were from Hawaii. And so I became good friends with them, and they invited me to come to their graduation. So I said, why not? I've never been to Hawaii before. So I went to the graduation, and while I was there, I arranged for an interview at KITV, the ABC affiliate.
Ah.
They had told me there were no job openings when I first called, but when I went by coincidence, the weekend sportscaster, a guy named Chris, he decided to take a job in Indianapolis. So they were holding auditions the week I was visiting Honolulu. So I went to the audition and landed the job. I had no idea I'd be going from Arkansas to Honolulu, but things were just meant to be, I guess. I know my friends back in Arkansas could not believe, what? You're going to Honolulu? So it was really kind of a dream come true. It was just meant to be, like I said.
Did
Yes.
you pick up did you have a drawl at all from Arkansas or from
Well, growing up in Texas, actually, I did have a Southern accent.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. I mean, you just grow up around that, talking that way. That's just the way it is. But I guess along the way, I slowly lost the accent. When I go back, sometimes I'll pick up certain words, or you kind of fall back into that speech habits,
Yeah,
and you
sure.
wind up talking with that certain drawl. But yeah, most of the time I don't. But yes.
But this lightning struck twice for you now. In 1980, boom, you got your first job all the way from Arkansas, and then
Yeah.
you left after
In '87, I left. Again, that's kind of a fun story too. So I had been trying to move to the Bay Area because I wanted to cover professional sports teams. As you well
mm,
know, Hawaii really didn't have any. They had the
mm,
Hawaii Islanders and the Pro Bowl, but I wanted to cover, big time sports. So I had been applying for work in San Francisco, kept getting rejection after rejection. Um, Finally, I decided, okay, I guess I'm meant to stay here in Honolulu. So I fly back to Honolulu, and on my answering machine was a message from the CBS affiliate saying, hey, are you interested in coming to work for us? And it's like, what? This is crazy. Turns out the sports director at the CBS affiliate, a man named Wayne Walker, had come on vacation to Hawaii, Honolulu, saw me on TV, and had his producer reach out to me to see if I'd be interested in becoming their number 3 guy in San Francisco. So I said, sure, I certainly am interested. So I went, auditioned for that job, and wound up getting that job in San Francisco. And I stayed there for some 30 years. And then in 2020, getting back to Hawaii, I had left TV and was making documentaries, came out here for the Hawaii International Film Festival.
ah,
And I knew the news director at KITV, a woman named Janice Jin. We had been friends. She's from San Francisco as well. And so I said, hey, Janice, let's get together for lunch and just catch up. So over lunch, she mentioned to me that they were looking for a male news anchor and if I'd be interested in getting back into business. And so after some thought, I said, why not? Let me move back to Hawaii for a couple of years at least and see how things go. And wound up working for another 4.5 years at KITV. And this was right like a month before the pandemic hit too. So it was like,
oh,
oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Everything got shut down, right? I was anchoring from home sometimes. It was just a crazy time, but no regrets. I'm glad I did it. If anything, I grew from the whole experience. I learned a lot of things. So I'm glad I took the opening. Hmm.
Wow. So lightning struck twice, once in 1980 and another time in
Yeah. And
1920,
2020.
1820, no, 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you are still in Honolulu, actively, you're at the ABC affiliate there, right?
Well, I left last June, almost a year now.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I decided it was time to start doing other things in my life, maybe going
Yeah,
back to documentaries. And, I'm not a young kid anymore, and I wanted to enjoy life as much as I could.
sure.
So I told the station that I wanted to go ahead and leave at that time.
Okay.
So, mhm.
You know, so you started Rick Quon Productions, and you've been producing a number of documentaries. Here's Steve Sue. Someone says, why doesn't someone do a documentary on this guy? I agree. Hey,
Okay, I'll let Steve do it then.
Steve, you're absolutely correct. This guy has such a, a varied, his journey has been so fascinating over just cross country, crisscrossing the country, if you will, Arkansas,
Yeah,
Texas, Bay Area, San Francisco, Hawaii. Goodness, and interesting. And along the way, you've collected a number of great stories. I'm sure you've
mm,
talked with some pretty amazing people over here. And I don't know why you don't really interview people that are popular. I mean, you interview people that we'd have no idea who they are. What's going on? Are you desperate for what's going on, Rick?
wait, we're seeing Jason Momoa here, and he's Rick Quon. Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Well, that's one of the perks of the job is you get to go places and meet people that a lot of people don't get to meet. And so this was at the premiere of Aquaman 2. Jason has, of course, ties to Hawaii. And so we got a chance to interview him. Yeah, we were all lined up. Each of the stations had like 3 minutes to talk to Jason. I was the
Uh-huh.
last one in line. And I said, oh man, he's going to be all talked out by the time he gets to me. But no, he was great. He gave me a lot of great answers and was willing to take a selfie with me too. So yeah,
Nice.
love Jason Momoa.
Well, everybody's excited about his new project. That's I think it's going to be released in August. Chief of Wars, and
Right. Yes.
the trailer just dropped. I saw that on YouTube yesterday, and have some folks that I know, some friends of mine that were involved in the project. So really excited about Chief of Wars with
Yeah. I think they're
uh,
comparing it to Game of Thrones, right? Are they trying to
yeah,
compare it to
yeah,
that?
yeah,
That'd be
exactly,
wonderful. Yes.
exactly. You need to quit interviewing people that we have no idea who they are. Now, you need
Who
to,
is that
who is this? Rick, what's going on?
guy? Yeah, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Another guy with huge local ties. He and his wife run the XFL basically, and so he was holding tryouts over at McKinley High School, which is right next to where I live at.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, he made himself available for the media to talk about what he was doing there, trying to recruit some local talent for the league. And again, he was cool enough to take a quick photo with me. I have no shame. I love taking selfies with people. Yeah, so that
um,
was cool. Yeah, yeah.
this
Uh,
gentleman we had on the Aloha Friday show, he was so gracious. Jesse Sapolo, and
Absolutely.
right,
Such a gentleman. Oh, Jesse's one of the nicest people I've ever met. Of course, long career with the 49ers. I
mhm.
got to cover him many times, covering the 49ers, working in San Francisco, and knowing he was from Hawaii, I kind of gravitated toward Jesse in the locker room because I knew he could always give me a soundbite, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, great warrior. He was drafted, I forgot, 10th round or something like that, and he went on to win, how many Super Bowl rings? 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah.
Just a great story, and he's always willing to give back to the community. The Polynesian Football Hall of Fame. This is where this picture was taken at. They were having their banquet at the Sheraton Waikiki that day.
Hmm.
So love this guy. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we had such a great time with him. I believe at the time I think he's moved to, I'm not certain, he was in Las Vegas when we talked to him. And just uh, the Hawaiians have a word for that. Ha'a ha'a means humble, very
Mhm.
unassuming, down to earth. And that described that sports football legend to you know, so amazing. Coach Marty Burns, who has Broke Them Out Bakery, is a retired high school football coach and was instrumental in getting us hooked up so that we could talk story. And mahalo, Marty, for that. And indeed, we were talking about the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame down in Laia as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
lot of stories. You've been able to talk with a number of sports legends, if you will. Right, here's the great Jerry Rice.
The greatest receiver of all time,
Oh
Jerry
my,
Rice,
yeah.
flashing his Super Bowl ring, one of his Super Bowl rings. Uh, Ed DeBartolo, the former owner of the team, has that Kamakana Ali'i shopping mall.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and so Jerry was out there to make a promotional appearance out there. Um, and so I got to MC the events, and
Nice.
yeah, it was great to see Jerry again. He's also one of my favorite athletes I think I ever interviewed. He and Steve Young, probably two of my favorite 49ers
Nice.
to get to know, not just as football players but as people. And the guy is a class act. Certainly the greatest of all time wide receiver. He's still in great shape, as you can see. That
Yeah.
guy. Uh, just super nice person. Yeah.
Yeah. um, what a wonderful career you have of over the years because of your position in television broadcasting, to be able to cross paths with these sports legends as well, right? Anyone stands out in your mind? I mean, that really impressed you? I mean, that stayed with you all these years?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I mentioned, Steve Young and Dave and Jerry Rice. One
Uh-huh.
baseball player I got to know pretty well. I don't know if you remember this name, but Dave Dravecki of the
Mm.
San Francisco Giants. Dave, was a pitcher. And oh, sorry, let me turn that back. Sorry about that. Dave, he wound up losing his pitching arm to cancer,
Oh,
and he had the well. First, he had the cancer tumor removed, came back, and it was at Candlestick Park, and it was this momentous comeback. He had um, gone through months and months of cancer rehabilitation, returned to the mound, and nearly threw a no hitter against the Cincinnati Reds. And I was at the game that day. It was just
wow.
like such a chicken skin event. I mean, everybody couldn't believe what they were seeing. But anyway, Dave would later re-injure his arm and have to have his whole left arm removed, amputated. But he's gone on to become this great motivational speaker. And
Hmm.
it was just, one of those moments you just never forget. So
Yeah.
he's one person that sticks in my mind for sure.
Sweet, sweet, sweet.
So,
Um, some folks, Steve Sue says about the documentary, I'm in. Uh-oh. You heard it first. You heard it first right here.
okay. All right. We have it on record. Mhm.
We have it on record, man.
Yep.
Um,
Okay, Steve.
and I want in on that. I can do the voice here. I put my radio voice on and I can
there,
voice it. Yeah, yeah.
there you
Oh my goodness. Some friends popping in to say aloha. Here's Abella Carol. Aloha, Abella. She's saying aloha, Kamaka and Rick. Abella is a great
go.
friend of ours. Beautiful hula dancer, lives in the Long Beach area as well. Uh, Here's some more of our ohana. This is Valerie Anduha. Napu Haku. Welcome, Valerie. Good to have you join us. We work together on a lot of our projects with the Sandwich Island Social Network. Here's Stan Tashiro, who is an ukulele teacher here in Southern California. He says
Okay.
Jesse Sopolo is my favorite. Yeah. Um,
Yes. He's a
Stan
lot of
also
people's favorite.
Stan also knows some secret spots. He won't let anybody know where he goes trout fishing. He shows pictures
Okay.
online where he's caught trout, he and his daughter. but he won't reveal where it is. So Stan is the trout whisperer. He knows where to find trout here in Southern California. Uh,
Whisper.
Abella says a really nice write up I read in Island News back in June of 2024 regarding your career
Oh,
and next
yeah.
steps. What a great life, Rick, and continued amazing career.
I've been blessed. I had a lot of opportunities. Like I said, a lot of things opened up for me, and was able to experience. Growing up in Houston, I thought I would stay there the rest of my life. To be honest with you, that's my siblings still live there. My mother still lives there. A lot of my childhood friends live there still, and I was happy living in Houston. But in TV news, to get the experience you need, Houston was too big of a city for me, so I had to go to Jonesboro, Arkansas to start.
Yeah.
Doors opened up along the way, but yeah, it was just it expands your. You don't know what life's going to bring you. I guess that's the moral of the story. You just don't know. But fortunately, I didn't wind up working in North Dakota or whatever for so many years. I got to work mostly in Honolulu and San Francisco. Those markets aren't too bad. So
Yeah. It's like Forrest Gump says, life is like a box of chocolates. You,
it is true.
you
It
never know.
is true. You never
Now,
know what you get.
you, Mr. Quan, you were supposed to stay in Houston and run the store after your parents because you're supposed to take over you supposed to take over the store. What?
No, yeah, and my parents owned a mom and pop grocery store, but yeah, actually, they wanted us to do something better. That was good for that generation, but
Yeah.
Chinese hardworking people, they want their kids get that college education and build on that. So yeah,
Yeah, and that is so true. Even back in Hawaii, all of the mom and pop Simon stands and the little drive-ins that I grew up, child of the '60s and '70s in Honolulu on Oahu. I say, oh, do you remember Byron's Drive-In? Do you remember Liki Liki Drive-In? Do all gone,
yeah,
because the
Casey
younger
Drive-In.
generation, boom,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
become professionals working in IT, or they've went to college,
right.
stayed, and so forth. But yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, here's Stan. Stan says, you just say, here, fishy, 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 and you catch them. Stan.
That's a secret. Okay, I'll try that next time. It happens.
Stan, you stop it. um, and Marty Burns says, how about Hawaii baseball? They're taking care of business. My favorite 49er has got to be Jesse Sapolo. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how about Hawaii baseball there, Rick?
Well, I mean, they're doing pretty well right now, but it's what a do or die game for them today, I believe.
Mm.
Um, so their backs are a little bit against the wall, but yeah, I mean, I covered them back in the days of Les Murakami, you know what I mean? And he was, of course, a legend
Yeah,
for us. And yeah, I still try to keep track of some of the Hawaii baseball and football teams and things like that. But
sure.
yeah, it's not. I mean, it was a different era back then. Dick Tomey, those guys,
Larry
playing
Price.
guys.
Larry Price was it?
I wasn't actually. Larry was at KITV already
Oh,
working
okay.
as an investigative reporter
Okay.
when I got there. But guys like Rich Miano was playing, and
Oh,
guys like Blaine
yes.
Geist and the Nonga brothers, Al Nonga and the
El Nonga. Oh, my.
yeah, that
Oh,
was a
my.
great time too. That was before the June Jones era where he took them to the Sugar Bowl, but
Yeah.
there were some great memories there too. Yeah.
Amazing. All right. If you just joined us, we're having a great conversation, story with Rick Quon on the island of Oahu in Kaka'aku right now. Can you see the ocean or the mountain from your place?
I can see both. Actually, I'm in a corner unit at the
Look at
condominium,
you.
my condominium. So to my right are the mountains, the Mount
Yeah.
Kasai, and to the left is the Makai side where I can see the ocean. So,
Look
and
at
then right
you.
in front of me, I can see the state capitol. So I'm up on the 40th floor. So
Look
I have
at
a nice
you.
bird's eye.
Malka Makai. You can see Eva.
Yeah.
Everything, man. That's really, really great. Well, we're going to take a little break right now, and we'll be right back with our great guest. Rick Quon in just a moment. So we'll pause right now for just a couple of messages.
Rick Quon is the first Chinese-American television sports anchor in the country. He got his start in 1979 in Jonesboro, Arkansas, working as a news reporter and weekend sports anchor for the ABC affiliate KAIT-TV. The next year, while attending a friend's graduation in Hawaii, he landed the weekend sports anchor job at KITV in Honolulu. In 1983, he was named the state's Sportscaster of the Year. During his 7 years in the islands, Rick got to interview former President Gerald Ford, meet celebrities like Lionel Richie, and appear in the original Magnum P.I. with Tom Selleck.
Yes, his office is just down the hall, but he's not there at this hour.
He could be. He's taking off tomorrow, so he might be catching up on his work.
Oh, he's taking off on vacation.
Well, it's sort of a long weekend on his foot, I think.
Well, I'll just check to see if he's in.
After KPIX sports director Wayne Walker saw him while vacationing in Hawaii, Rick joined the CBS affiliate in 1987, where he would work for the next 21 years, becoming the first full-time Asian American male anchor in the Bay Area.
That's right, Hank. The Giants opened a 9-game homestand tonight by taking on the Montreal Expos. On Sunday, San Francisco wrapped up a dismal road trip by crushing Milwaukee 16-10.
Good evening and welcome to Game Day. I'm Rick Quon. We start tonight with...
His work would win him 2 local Emmys. 4 times he was voted Best TV Anchor by readers of the Oakland Tribune. One of his favorite stories was with Dot Jones, who would find fame as an actor in shows like Glee.
I've searched all my life for my champion. Now I finally found him.
So Dot Jones had met her match, and life will never be the same. My car is parked around the corner, Dot.
Yes, sir.
The name is Quan, Rick Quon.
During his more than 2 decades at KPIX, he got to know athletes like the NFL Hall of Famers Joe Montana, Steve Young, and Jerry Rice. He also had the great pleasure of working with another Hall of Famer named Dan Fouts.
Right now it's time to go out to the Westin St. Francis, where Rick Quon is standing by with honors for Dan Fouts. Right, Rick?
That's right, Anna. A big night for the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. 4 inductees tonight, including our own Dan Fouts. We hope to have a one-on-one interview with Dan.
Oh. Hey, Rick, your table's ready.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'll be right there. We'll be back with Dan Fouts right after this.
In 2008, Rick left KPIX, but in 2010 began working as a sportscaster for ABC affiliate KGO. He would stay there until 2017, when he began making award-winning documentaries. His subjects have included Ed Lee, the first Chinese-American mayor of San Francisco, and Dorothy Toy, an Asian-American dancer who broke barriers by appearing on Broadway and in films in the 1930s. In 2020, Rick was made an offer he just couldn't refuse, a chance to move back to Hawaii to be a news anchor at his former station, KITV. You could almost say Rick's career has come full circle. As the news anchor at KITV4, he's a person viewers have come to trust and respect, qualities that have earned by decades of experience.
Oh my goodness, I saw Robert K. Kaula on the
Yeah.
Missed that Hawaiian. He was a sweetheart. He was really a
Yeah,
sweetheart.
he was, I guess, you could call him a legend in the local broadcasting business here. Robert did so much. It was my fortune to get to know him for a few years,
Wow.
before he passed away. Yeah.
Quite a story on Rick Quon. I agree, Steve Sue. Got to do a documentary on Rick Quon, man. Seriously, your travels and the things that people that cross paths with you, and the folks that you've got so many stories to tell. No question about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if you recognize. Oh, I don't know if you can recognize the voice. The narrator was Dan Fouts, right? The former Charger quarterback.
Okay.
And just a quick story about him. So Dan and I worked together, at KPIX, and he later was working for Monday Night Football. So anyway, in 2000, Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I get to go to Canton, Ohio to cover that. And Dan was there too. I said, Dan, can I interview you for about this story? He said, sure. And what got me was that he picked up my cameraman's tripod and carried it over to where we were going to do the interview. And I said, Dad, you don't have to carry the tripod. I mean, you're a big time star here. And he said, no, I don't mind. I'll carry the tripod wherever you want me to take it. And that just told me so much about Dan. He's willing to help us, do the interview by carrying the tripod. That's usually, goes to the cameraman's job. But
Sure.
Anyway, just wanted to mention that a quick story about Dan Fouts, because he's such a great guy. Yeah.
Nice. So you're focused on Rick Quon Productions, and you've been producing a number of documentaries, one of which was mentioned in the clip that we saw, was about Larry Ramos and the association. Tell us how that came to your attention, and what was the impetus to start to doing something like that?
Well, actually, in that clip, we mentioned the Ed Lee documentary and the Dorothy Toy documentary. But right now, I'm producing, or I just finished producing, a half-hour documentary about a man named Larry Ramos, who was from the island of Kauai, Waimea. And he went on to become one of the main singers with two famous groups in the 1960s, the New Christie Minstrels and a group called the Association. Most people will recognize the Association from songs like Windy and Never My Love, Cherish. Those are all #1 hits back in the late 1960s.
Along Comes Mary, yeah, all of those great
Along
songs.
Comes Mary, yes, another one big hit. People of a certain age group, we all recognize those songs, right?
Yes.
So Larry sang co-lead on two of the songs, Windy and Never My Love. And while doing the research on this, I didn't realize this, but Never My Love was the #2 most played song in the 20th century, only behind You Lost That Loving Feeling from the Righteous Brothers.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my God, a local guy singing one of the most popular songs of the 20th century, and really not too many people know about this guy. We need to do something. Plus, he was the first Asian American to win a Grammy too.
Wow.
So what had happened was, when I was still working at KITV, we had the Grammys on our station. So I thought, well, let me do a quick little profile about Larry as a way to get people to watch the Grammys, whatever. So I did a short 3-minute story, and I got to know his daughter, Tracy Ramos, who lives in Phoenix. And so I told Tracy, I said, Tracy, if we ever have time, I'd like to make a longer documentary about your dad. So after I left the station in June, I approached her and said, I think now would be a good time for me to try to work on this project. And she agreed. Tracy, she's like the, I don't know, keeper of the family flame. Every Thursday, she'll post a new picture of her dad on Facebook and say something about him. She's been doing this for more than a decade now. Larry passed in 2010. So 2014, I'm sorry. She passed in 2014. So I felt like, she was a key person I needed to interview because she knows all the history, what it was like growing up with a famous dad. So anyway, so I finally finished producing the documentary. I have entered it in the Hawaii International Film Festival. Hopefully it'll be accepted. But we're going to have the premiere next month in my hometown of Houston on June 27th. And the kicker is that we were able to book the association to come play an hour concert. Isn't that something?
Wow, yeah.
So we're going to show the documentary, have a concert, and have a Q&A with some of the members getting their thoughts about what was it like, playing with Larry.
Wow.
So really excited about that. Yes.
Yeah. There's a short trailer, a little clip there I want to share on Larry Ramos. There it is.
From the island of Kauai tonight comes my very good little friend, the singing and ukulele champion of Hawaii. He's 11 years old. Here's Larry Ramos.
He went from being a child prodigy with the ukulele to singing #1 hits in front of millions on The Ed Sullivan Show. This is the remarkable story of Hawaii's Larry Ramos, the first Asian American to win a Grammy.
Awards and accolades, they were nice, but it wasn't something that that's not why he was in the business. That's not why he played music or did the very best that he could in any performance. It was always because it's what he enjoyed doing.
He starred with two of the biggest groups of the 60s, the New Christy Minstrels and the Association, breaking racial barriers along the way.
He was a forerunner. He was a Jackie Robinson of music, and as much as he knew that, he never once took bows for it or told anybody on stage, yeah, I'm the guy,
It took people like Larry Ramos to get white America to get used to seeing people who are Asian or brown-skinned. And it wasn't easy. It took a long time. So thank you, Larry Ramos.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
As you mentioned, Along Comes Mary, the song we tried played off of that title. Along Comes Larry.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I remember the New Christian Minstrels too. That whole time, I had forgotten that he was with the New Christian Minstrels. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people don't think of Larry because it was such a large group of people. It wasn't like Larry and the New Christy Minstrels or Larry and the Association. These are all larger groups. And so even though he was only non-white person, he got a little lost in the shuffle there somewhat. But I think I remember seeing him on an album cover one time from the Association and say, wow, there's somebody else that's, brown skin on there. So anyway, I'm really excited about this documentary.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Here's a note from Nate Jones. He's the production assistant over here on the Aloha Friday show. He does all the work behind the scenes to make my job really easy. He says, Aloha Rick, mahalo again for coming on the show. Your former colleague at KITV and former guest on the Aloha Friday show, Lisa Clark Stone, sends her aloha to you.
Lisa Clark. Oh, long time.
She's impressed with what you've done with your talents and career. Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Rap Reppinger's widow, Rap Reppinger's wife at the time, Lisa Clark. Yeah, we had her on the show a while back, and man, she published a great book on this story about It's called From Paradise to Paradise by Lisa Clark Stone. Friends
Okay.
can get it on Amazon if you like. I have the book. It's a great read. Some things about comic legend Rap Reppinger that's just really fascinating from her point of view as his wife. But she sends her aloha. That's
Appreciate it.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks for the work you do, Nate. Behind the scenes, he pulls all the strings and makes it all happen here. Marty Burns says, have you had an opportunity to visit the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame at the Polynesian Cultural Center?
Yeah, I just went about 6 months ago. And actually, that was the first time I had a chance to go. And very impressed by the presentation over there, seeing all the plaques and everything and the little biographical information on each member. So, yes, I did have a chance to visit.
Great. Abella says here about your perch above Honolulu from Mauka to Makai. Great storytelling. When does your book come out?
Oh, God. The thing about TV, I always was taught about TV is that you're not the story, You're telling the story, but you're not the story. So I've always kind of shied away from, putting my story out there. It's just, that's one of the principles I learned early on as a news reporter or sportscaster, whatever, that I'm secondary to everything, Don't make yourself the subject. you're the storyteller. So I don't know if a book will ever come out, to be honest with you. But I'm flattered that someone would even ask that.
Well, if Stephen Sue says anything about it, you never know. We might have a little documentary. I mentioned the Dorothy Toy a moment ago. She was known as the Chinese Ginger Rogers. Early on during the war years, a lot of people know Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. They were household names, right, from early on. But very few know about the world-class footwork of Dorothy Toy and the late Paul Wing as Asian American dancers. You did something very, very cool. I learned so much more about sharing. I knew about Dorothy Toy before, just a little bit. Let's take a look at this, and I'd like to hear your comments about Dorothy Toy.
Dorothy Toy was known as the Asian Ginger Rogers. Starting in the 1930s, she teamed up with Paul Wing to become the most famous Asian American dance couple in America.
Oh, I loved it. When you're dancing, it's like you're in another world. So I enjoy it so much that the public enjoys it.
At a time when Asian Americans were often discriminated against, Toy and Wing were breaking stereotypes by touring throughout the U.S., appearing on Broadway, and in Hollywood films.
I went through so much to do dancing because I loved it. It wasn't easy. Starving is a very hard one, but if you're young, you could go do it, but if you're older, it's hard to starve. Yeah. But we went through a lot of prejudice, everything.
With a dance career that spanned nearly 8 decades, Dorothy has an amazing story to tell. Last May, at her 99th birthday, she showed she still has some of the moves that made her so special.
She just loved what she did, and that was the most important thing. And she loved the applause, and she was happiest on stage. So I think that was her reward, really, was the applause.
Dancing is something that'll keep you very happy. I'm happy that I danced all my life.
My. So tell us that story about Dorothy Toy and your connection.
Well, Dorothy had always been very active in the Chinese community in San Francisco, and we would see each other. We weren't close friends, but I knew of her. So in 2017, I had left the ABC affiliate and wanted to do documentaries. So she was my first subject I got to do a documentary on. Dorothy, I lived in Oakland, And Dorothy was actually lived in Oakland too. She was like 15 minutes away from me. So I said, look, at that time she was already 99 years old. And I said, let's sit down and, get some of your memories before you start forgetting some of these things. And she was all for it. And so, interviewed her and put together a short documentary, and, people just loved it. It just kind of brought back an old time, back when there were a lot of Chinese nightclubs in San Francisco. She broke a lot of barriers herself, appearing on vaudeville circuit. First one Asian female dancer on Broadway. Her name was actually Takahashi. It wasn't Toy, but she changed it because of all the anti-Japanese bias at that time. Her family was sent to an internment camp. She had to go to New York to avoid going to camp. Wow. But just a wonderful. She passed away at 102, but
wow.
Just a real inspirational person. Yeah. So the video's on YouTube if people want to just check it out. But,
yes. Wow. So if you want to live long, then you need to keep dancing. Keep dancing.
They actually say that's scientifically proven. If you dance, you live longer. Unfortunately, I am not much of a dancer, so I don't know. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around. But.
Well, I don't know. I do old school dancing. I can do this.
Yeah, well, that's a Donald Trump dance.
That's it. Oh yeah, Donald. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Kay Bennett says, "I love Toy and Wing." Oh. The old black and white movies. Some of those great dance scenes still live, man, on YouTube. Yeah, great story on the lovely Dorothy. Mahalo. That's from Bella, indeed.
You might have noticed in the clip, you saw how she was doing those leg motions. I mean, incredible leg strength for this dancer. And part of it, I was told in the documentary, I go into it a little bit, but one of her first dancers was a Russian choreographer, and it was kind of a Russian Cossack style of dancing where, you have to be really strong with your legs. Mm-hmm. And so she was one of those rare people who had that leg strength to perform like that, those spins and twists with her legs and stuff like that. So almost athletic, I guess you could say, her style of dancing. Yes.
Very athletic. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That lower body strength and the legs. Whew,
right.
Pretty amazing. I know. So you have the Larry Ramos project that's already, it's in the can. You're getting ready for your premiere in Houston. You have the association that's coming down. Oh my goodness. Exciting. All right. Yeah. So
one other, can I mention just one other quick documentary?
Yes,
I did
please.
one during the pandemic. I had some extra time on my hands, and I did a documentary on a local nightclub owner. You might remember a guy named Jack Sione.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The naughty boy.
Exactly. In fact, the name of the documentary is Honolulu's Naughtiest Nightclub Owner. Yeah. And he was known for the bottomless waiters.
Yes.
The well-endowed guys that would appear at the Dunes nightclub and
down there by the airport.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, exactly.
Lovely Boom Boom in Waikiki. I mean, he was such a character, and so I had some mutual friends introduce me to him. And so during the pandemic, I said, Jack, let's sit down and make a documentary about your life. And I'm glad I did, because he did pass us. About 6 months ago, he passed away.
Uh-huh.
But even then, he was putting on shows at the Arcadia Retirement Club.
Yes, I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that was those people love putting on those shows because it gave them something to look forward to. And, for one night at least, or a few nights, they get to dress up in all these costumes and sing and dance and, it was just wonderful, and I'm sure they're going to miss him a lot over there. But, anyway, if you have a chance, check out that Honolulu's Naughtiest Nightclub Owner, Jack Sione. So.
I saw that, and again, Rick, I did not know that it had your fingerprints all over it, my friend.
That was me.
My good, these gals, like you say, they were looking forward to it. I mean, they had their walker, but as soon as they got into costume and they had all their gear, they were like showgirls. It was like, oh my goodness.
These are people in their 80s and 90s. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, he put on his last show. He even said it was going to be my last show. I think it was in September, and so I had the honor of attending that one. So
nice.
Yeah, he's greatly missed. Yeah.
So, what's next on your your purview, man?
Well, again, pretty much all my energies right now are on the Larry Ramos documentary. I think once we get it shown in Houston next month, then hopefully it'll get accepted at the Hawaii International Film Festival. It'll be shown here in October, hopefully. I've entered it already in about at least a half dozen other film festivals on the continent, and we'll see if it gets accepted there. So that's the main thing. I have some traveling plans this summer to Las Vegas, of course, and Seattle I'll be going to. And I just came back from a trip to Japan. That was really my first trip to Japan. I had a chance to travel with the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce over there, and really enjoyed. That was my first, I think, trip out of the country in like 5-6 years. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's one of the shrines we had a chance to visit. But we got to check out sumo wrestling. We went to the World Expo in Osaka. We had a geisha wait on us over during dinner, entertain us during dinner. It was just a wonderful experience. I can see why so many people are in love with Japan and want to move over there. It's very clean, everybody's very courteous. So it was a great time. Yes.
Wonderful.
So maybe more traveling.
Yeah. Talking about the Hawaiian Film Festival, my cousin was one of the producers of Hawaiian Soul. It was a documentary about the life of George Helm, a Hawaiian activist. He was one of the, during the 70s, a Koho'olawe activist about the bombing of Koho'olawe, and actually lost his life in the water off of Koho'olawe. But Kaliko Ma'i'i is my cousin that they helped, was one of the producers of Hawaiian Soul. It's a 28-minute film with a lot of the Helm family. That was Raiatea Helm was also on there because that's her ohana as well. So that was a great documentary as well. But I can't believe an hour has passed by of Talk Story. Looks like we've just begun.
Oh, yes. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
I tell you. And Rick, you've been so gracious to come on to the show. Thank you so much. Really interesting. So just real quickly now, what happens for distribution, or where else will we be able to see the Larry Ramos story?
Well, I have talked to a distributor already because I've entered it in the film festivals. A lot of film festivals want you to first play it there before you make it available, I don't know, on one of the streaming channels or something like that.
Okay.
So probably won't be available until the fall at the soonest.
Okay.
As far as being widespread. Yeah.
Please keep in touch with us if you have a moment you think about us. Go ahead and hit Nate Jones up, and we'll share that with all of our ohana as well. Because that little trailer looks so wonderful, so warming, and I think Larry Ramos deserves that people learn about him, even if it's after he has passed. But his memory and his legend lives on for sure on that.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, our pleasure. There's Abella says, a wonderful Aloha Friday show. I know, right, Abella? Such a gracious Rick Quon here. And I should take a picture with Rick Quon because he takes a picture with The Rock, and he takes, he takes a picture with The Rock, and he takes a picture with Jason Momoa. I need a picture of me with Rick Quon. He stays behind the camera, but I got him right now on camera. Well, mahalo, Rick. Thanks so much. And thank you, everybody, for coming in and joining us in our little visual paina right there. Um, and Steve goes, "Great job, boys," with a
All
Z.
right.
I like Steve. Steve is always he's an Energizer bunny, man. He's always on the go here. And NTK says mahalo, Rick. So we'll say mahalo to everybody. Have a great weekend. Those of you coming out to the Augie T Show tomorrow, we'll see you there in Gardena. And until next time, I say ahui ho, and we catch you later on the Aloha Friday Show with the Sandwich Island Social Network.